How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be watching another Christmas film for December, and this one is A Miracle on 34th Street, the original. I have seen the one from the 1990s with Richard Attenborough, but said I'd go back and watch this one. It's a real staple of Christmas. Quite a few people were actually quite excited when I put this on the community post of what films I'll be watching for December. So hopefully there's enough of a difference still that it's not exactly the same. Or at least the remake didn't go exactly, frame for frame the exact same as the original. So this is Maureen O'Hara, who obviously I've seen in The Quiet Man and Rio Grande, so excited to see her again, Irish actress, of course. And yeah, just another Christmas film. I really enjoyed The Shop Around the Corner last week, so they're kind of nice, I always like watching Christmas films in the lead up to Christmas. I always find, like, once you get to Christmas Day, I just don't have the appetite for them anymore. It's not that, obviously they're really good films, but for me they're part of the build-up to Christmas. Same with Christmas music. There's other kind of traditions. I think watching like blockbuster films in like Jurassic Park or Jaws, stuff like that, or Back to the Future, they're really cool to watch in over the like after you get to Christmas Day and onwards, kind of over the holidays. They're the kind of films I enjoy watching. But Christmas films are great in the lead-up, anticipation, building to the event. But as always, guys, if you like the reaction, like and a comment would be fantastic. I have a Patreon page to be a full-length uncut reaction to this film in the link or in the description as well. Also available on the Patreon page. Just a big shout out to my patrons, to Ravi, to JM63, to Mary, to Blaze, to Jenny, Jared, and Gigi Gooding. Support is incredible. But with that, guys, let's watch A Miracle on 34th Street. Setting up the reindeers. Is he gonna correct him or something now in a bit?
You've got them mixed up. You're making a mistake.
Sorry to interrupt you in your work, but I wanted to tell you you're making a rather serious mistake.
Huh?
We've got Cupid where Blitzen should be. And Dasher, Dasher should be on my right-hand side.
You should, huh?
Yes.
Bye.
Not at all.
Thanks.
Glad to help you. Bye.
Thanksgiving parade to welcome Santa Claus. How big is Thanksgiving in America? Like, is it on the same level as Christmas as a holiday in the States?
You've been drinking.
Well, it's cold. A man's got to do something to keep warm.
Realize there are thousands of children lining the streets waiting to see you? Children who've been dreaming of this moment for weeks.
Who's in charge of this parade?
When you find out, you tell me. These pants are going to fall off in the middle of Columbus Circle.
Your Santa Claus is intoxicated.
Oh, no.
Yes, it's disgraceful. How can you allow a man to get...
It's cold. A man's got to do something to keep warm.
I'll warm you. I ought to take this case.
And I ought to...
Shameful. Absolutely
You've
shameful.
got an alternative right there in front of you.
Could you be Santa Claus? Have you had any experience?
I am not in the habit of substituting for spurious Santa Clauses.
I improve on the position. And you said the children to be disappointed.
The children mustn't be disappointed.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it.
It's going to be even colder now when you take the costume off him. I've never heard that music in before.
Oh,
Where did you find him?
I just turned round and there he was.
I'm glad you turned round. I mean, I'm glad he was there.
Where's Susan?
She's watching the parade.
Oh, where? With whom?
With that Mr. Gailey who lives in the front apartment.
He certainly is a giant, isn't he?
Not really. There are no giants, Mr. Gailey.
Well, what about the giant that Jack killed?
Jack? Jack who?
Jack? Jack and the Beanstalk.
I never heard of that.
It's a fairy tale.
Oh, one of those. I didn't know any fairy tales.
None?
Oh, your mother and father must have told you.
Silly.
Billy
I
Goat's
don't know
Gruff,
whether my
Three Little
father thinks
Pigs.
they're silly or not. I never met my father. Father and mother were divorced when I was a baby.
Kind of weird to let someone into an apartment when you don't know the adult that your child is with.
And that...
I must confess it's part of a deep-dyed plot.
Oh.
I'm fond of Susie, very fond.
They're also fond of you.
But I read someplace that the surest way to meet the mother is to be kind to the child.
What a horrible trick.
It worked. I see she doesn't believe in Santa Claus either. No Santa Claus, no fairy tales.
I think we should be realistic and completely truthful with our children and not have them growing up believing in a lot of legends and myths like them.
Maybe might make them too close-minded too soon as well.
The acrobats were good. Couldn't we invite Mr. Gailey? Couldn't we?
Well,
She barely knows
don't
him.
even think about it. I'll have a sandwich or something.
Please,
I don't want you
Mother,
to feel...
please.
well,
Can I ask our eyes? Didn't I ask all right, Mr. Gailey?
That all depends.
And the child comes out in her, finally.
Gee, that sure is an elegant costume.
Yes, I've had it for years. And years.
I play Santa Claus over at the wine near our block, see?
No kidding.
Started...
It's young for Santa.
Didn't have no padding, and since I carry my own padding around with me, I got the job, see?
So here's a list of toys that we have to push, you know, things that we're overstocked on. Now, you immediately suggest...
It's not what he wants to focus on.
You understand?
I certainly do. Imagine making a child take something it doesn't want just because he bought too many of the wrong toys. They commercialize Christmas.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad isms floating around this world, but one of the worst is commercialism. Don't care what Christmas stands for, just make a buck, make a buck.
All about the money, 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 money.
I want to find it just like the big ones, only smaller. Has a rose. It's got 12 one, and I won't do it in the house. I promise.
I would have gotten none of that without the subtitles.
Macy's ain't got any. Nobody's got any.
I can tell you're a good boy. You'll get your fire engine.
Oh, thank you very much.
We're all in different ways.
What's the matter with you? Don't you understand English? I tell you, Macy's ain't got any. Nobody's got any.
Schoenfeld's on Lexington Avenue. Only $8.50, a wonderful bargain.
Schoenfeld's? I don't get it.
Surprise you, sir?
Surprise me. Macy's sending people to the store. Are you kidding me?
Well, the only... Now, we've got skates, and they're very good, too, but they're not quite good enough. You go to Gimbel's. They'll have exactly what you're looking for. Sure. Here. Yeah, that's for you. Merry Christmas. Goodbye. Hello, my little girl.
I want to congratulate you and Macy's on this wonderful new stunt you're pulling. Imagine sending people to other stores. Imagine a big outfit like Macy's putting the spirit of Christmas ahead of the commercial. It's wonderful.
Oh, you don't believe that, do you?
Mm-mm. You see, my mother's Mrs. Walker, the lady who hired you.
Oh.
Your beard doesn't have one of those things that goes over your ears.
Well, that's because it's real. Just like I'm really Santa Claus.
This way, please. Get back in the line there now.
And now, what would you like me to bring you for Christmas?
Nothing, thank you.
Susan, hello, Mr. Gailey. I think you've taken up enough of this gentleman's time now. Come along, dear.
Well, I thought as long as we're here, we might as well say hello to Santa Claus.
He's a nice old man, Mother, and those whiskers are real, too.
I want to talk to Mr. Gailey.
Oh, he's gonna get it.
Shouldn't have brought Susie to see Santa Claus, huh?
I think there is harm. I tell her Santa Claus is a myth, and you bring her down here, and she sees hundreds of gullible children, me filling them full of fairy tales. They grow up considering life a fantasy instead of a reality. They keep waiting to ask you.
People have to have dreams as well, though. You know, I think hope
She's my
and dreams
responsibility, and I must bring her up
help
to
you
see
in the reality.
She's Dutch. She just came over. She's been living in an orphan's home in Rotterdam ever since. Well, I didn't know what to do.
Hallo, ik ben blij dat je gekomen bent.
Oh, u bent Sinterklaas.
Yes.
Wist het wel. Ik was
What
zeker
a
dat u het
sweet
zou
little moment.
Natuurlijk. Zeg maar wat je zou willen hebben.
That made an impact on her as well.
Ik heb van alles. Ik wil alleen maar bij deze lieve dame zijn.
It's like a bit of tradition for her. He's providing her a bit of that.
Yes, I see what you mean, Mother.
Good.
But when he spoke Dutch to that girl, he was so...
Susan, I speak French. Doesn't make me Joan of Arc. What I'm trying to explain to you is, come in.
You said you wanted to see me, Mrs. Walker.
Come. Would you please tell her that you're not really Santa Claus? That there actually is no such person?
To disagree with you, Mrs. Walker, but not only is there such a person, but here I am to prove it.
No. You misunderstand. I want you to tell her the truth. May I have this gentleman's employment card, please?
Yes, Mrs. Walker.
This dress is very cute. Where did you get it?
We have rescued.
Next of kin, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comic Cupid, Donner, Blitz.
Grams, messages, telephone calls, the governor's wife, the mayor's wife, expressing undying gratitude to Macy's. Precisely the same thing.
You aren't getting rid of
If
him.
we haven't got exactly what the customer wants, we'll send him where he can get it.
He's crazy. He thinks he is Santa Claus.
He didn't actually.
I don't care if he thinks he's Easter Bunny. You've got to get him back.
He's insane, I tell you.
Mr. Macy suggested that we find something else for the other Santa Claus and keep you on by all means.
Oh, if I can win you over, there's still hope.
It's the challenge he wants.
And I guess I'm through.
Thing in the morning, would you report to Mr. Sawyer's office?
Sawyer?
Yes, he'll just give you a little examination.
But I think she's going to be a little worried to hear him say, I don't give up too easily. Because he won't want her pushing her daughter.
How much is 3 times 5?
The same as it was before. 15.
It's almost a night he hasn't got something money.
You're rather nervous, aren't you, Mr. Sawyer? Do you get enough sleep?
Why? Personal habits are of no concern to you.
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I was going to call you today. I had a feeling along about now you people would be wondering about Chris.
After giving this man a comprehensive examination, it's my considered opinion he should be dismissed immediately.
Really?
He was even questioning me. I don't think there's any doubt about it. He should be placed in a mental institution.
What?
Oh, I don't agree, Mr. Sawyer. He only wants to be friendly and helpful.
That's what I feel, too.
Why, there are thousands of people
It's
walking
pretty obvious
around
that's
with
the
similar
impression he
delusions,
gives off.
living perfectly normal lives, and he'll not become violent.
His whole manner suggests aggressiveness. Look at the way he carries that cane.
I think it's made you uncomfortable.
Completely yours?
But there's like anger in your voice. Like it just tells it almost like you have a vendetta against him.
What sort of games do you play with the other children in the apartment building here?
I don't play much with them. You're supposed to be the zookeeper. He said, "What kind of an animal are you?" And I said, "I'm not an animal."
Of course, in order to play it, you've got to have an imagination. No, to me, the imagination is a place all by itself, a separate country. How would you like to have a ship?
Again, this is creating the
daily trips
fantasy, imagination,
Australia. Would you like to be the Statue of Liberty in the morning?
things that her mother, I don't think, is keen on, you know.
With a flock of geese. The thing you've got to learn is how to pretend. And the next time Homer says, "What kind of animal are you?" you tell him you're a monkey.
But I don't know how to be a monkey.
Sure you do. Here, I'll show you. Let's have your teeth.
But this...
Now let's scratch yourself and chatter, see?
On the contrary, Haslip, Sherman, McKinsley, and Haslip. What's going on here?
Oh, we're just having our first lesson in pretending. Oh, doing quite well at it, too.
Not reality. Yeah, he knows she won't like that. Maybe keep her distracted.
Mr. Kringle, I was just thinking, I'm all alone in my apartment. Twin beds, plenty of room. If you'd like to move in with me, I'd be only too happy to have you.
Well, that's awfully nice of you. You could. Now, don't forget to scratch. You're not scratching. You're not.
It's the details that are important, you know?
Mr. Gailey, it's a deal.
Good. We'll drive out after dinner and get you things.
Hey, that's very sweet of them. Please thank them very much. But I'm going to stay with Mr. Gailey.
Mr. Gailey?
I think I'd better get the meat.
Must be something you want for Christmas. Something you haven't even told your mother about, eh? Oh, come on now.
Well...
I wonder what was the most popular things at this time for children.
That's what I want for Christmas.
You mean a doll's house like this?
No, a real house. If you're
Hell of a gift.
Can't, you're only a nice man with a white beard like...
Just because every child can't get his wish, that doesn't mean there isn't a Santa Claus.
That's what I thought you'd say. I want a backyard with a great big tree to put a swing on and...
It does sound a lot better than an apartment, to be fair. The most difficult
I'll do my best.
proposal that's ever been brought to Santa.
This picture.
Starting to have an impact on her, though. She's kind of... She's not as sure as before that he's definitely not Santa, you know?
Every shopper in New York City suddenly thinks of Macy as a benevolent soul, thinking only of the welfare of the public. Well, two can play at this game. From now on, if we haven't got what the customer wants, send him back to Macy's. And what...
I have something I'd like to give our friend here. This is just a little something to show my appreciation for...
A doctor. He's been very kind to me. He needs an X-ray machine.
Oh, I don't think that's going to be enough.
I'll make up the difference.
Buy it through the store and get 10% discount.
I can get it for costs.
Amazing. Don't have a spare piece?
You're gonna get it in your beard, man.
Well, here goes.
Shock on her face.
Alfred,
Hello, Chris.
how about a little game of checkers after lunch, eh?
Leave us not today, Chris. Well, remember I was telling you how I like to play Santa Claus over at the Y on Christmas, and I was telling that to Mr. Sawyer, see, and, well, he says that's very bad.
Sawyer, you mean,
Oh, sure. He says that guys who dress up like Santa Claus, see, and do it because when they was young, they must have did something bad, and they feel guilty about it. So now they do something they think is good to me.
It's a lot of rubbish, Alfred. Don't listen to it.
Oh, he knows what he's talking about. He's been studying that stuff for a long time.
A few things have just come into my head, and I'm going to say them.
Now they'll say he got angry and belligerent and had a go at me and was aggressive and angry.
You have no more right to analyze Alfred than a dentist has to remove a gallbladder.
I beg your pardon.
Your job here, I understand, is to give intelligence. You ought to be horsewhipped. Taking a normal, impressionable boy like Alfred and filling him up with complexes and phobias.
I think
either you stop analyzing Alfred or I go straight to Mr. Macy and tell him what a malicious, contemptible fraud you are.
Get out before I have you thrown out.
Oh!
Mr. Sawyer!
Mr. Sawyer, are you all right?
Look at that bump! Mr. Sawyer! He's unconscious. Better get a wet towel.
No, better get a doctor.
When I attacked his delusion, he became violent. I told you he
he's
had
like-
like,
I mean,
maniacal tendencies.
You shouldn't have hit him,
I
but
think this proves it.
feeling like he was endangering Alfred, so maybe a thump to the head was right, really.
In view of this,
Wasn't too far.
possible his condition- More or less attacking his delusion again. He's apt to become violent.
But in front of the children? Oh, but that'd be terrible.
Well,
going to take some publicity pictures this afternoon down at the City Hall. You and the mayor.
Good.
As I said, he's so pure in a world where, I guess, like the mother has says, reality exists. And there's harsh people in this reality.
Bellevue.
Did she know about this?
Yes, we all discussed it.
Hello. Yes? Yes? Why, yes, we share an apartment together. Bellevue. But why, Doctor? What did he...
Oh, he's quite comfortable.
Just in a small chair, it's like he shrank almost. He just in himself, you know, with the whole situation.
failed that examination, didn't you?
Why? Because the last few days I've had great hope. I had a feeling Doris was beginning to believe in me. She was only just humoring me all the time.
But I just talked to her on the phone. She didn't know anything about the taking pictures with the mayor.
Well, I'm glad of that. But why didn't she come to me and explain the whole thing?
She didn't want to hurt you.
But that's why she was just sorry. If you'd been dragged off here instead of me, she wouldn't have been sorry. She'd have been furious. And yet he's out there and I'm in here. He's called normal and I'm not.
Because that's reality when you're in the fantasy world.
But, Chris, you can't just think of yourself.
Unfortunately.
People like
The
me
good
who
one.
believe in what you stand for. And people like Susie who are just beginning to.
You're right. I ought to be ashamed of myself. Even if we can't win, we can go down swinging. You'll think of something.
It's not going to be easy, Chris.
Oh, it will be for you. I believe you're the greatest lawyer since Darrow. I believe in you. You can't let me down.
But you don't understand it.
Dangerous, my foot. I don't care if he failed 10 examinations. You had no right to do it. Now,
Alleged mentally ill person.
Age unknown. Old man, huh?
The man calls himself Kris Kringle. Thinks he's Santa Claus.
Uh-oh.
Morning. Your Honor, there seems to be undue haste in this case. I wish to protect my client's rights, as I'm sure you do.
We'll have a hearing on Monday morning at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We're very anxious to avoid publicity of any kind.
Naturally.
So if you would agree to put this matter through quietly?
Publicity. You know, that's not a bad idea. You know, if I'm going to win this case, I'm going to have public opinion and plenty of it.
And all the children backing you.
Just the way to do it.
He's always twitching that eyebrow. Just lock them all out in a minute. Is Kringle crazy? Court case coming. Hey, kitties.
Good night, Terry. Good night, Alice. Now, straight to bed. I promised your mother you'd be in bed by 8 o'clock, and it's...
Oh, how about a great big kiss for Grandpa, hmm? Fine way to treat their grandfather. No.
Any man who puts Santa Claus on trial for lunacy.
See what I mean?
Yeah. Trickier than you envisioned.
Mr. Kringle, will you take the stand? Where do you live?
That's what this hearing will decide.
All these complicated tests and reports boil down to this. Mr. Kringle is not sane because he believes himself to be Santa Claus.
Anyone who thinks he's Santa Claus is not sane.
Not necessarily. You believe yourself to be Judge Harper.
Mr. Kringle is the subject of this hearing.
Yes, Your Honor. And if he is the person he believes himself to be, just as you are, just as sane.
Granted, but he isn't.
Oh, but he is, Your Honor.
Is what?
I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
He's crazy, too.
Oh, they're all for that now. They are all for that.
You're talking like a child. You're living in a realistic world, and those lovely intangibles of yours are attractive but not worth very much. You don't get ahead that way. These last few days, we've talked about some wonderful plans. And then you go on an idealistic binge.
Look, Doris, someday you're going to find out that your way of facing this realistic world just doesn't work. And when you do, don't overlook those lovely intangibles.
It's a clash of personalities between the two of them.
Sometimes I wish I'd married a butcher or plumber.
Well, my
He's
dear,
got to do
if I
his
lose
job,
this
though,
case,
you know,
it's
from
very
his
possible
point.
that you'll get your wish.
Your employee, is he not?
Yes.
Do you believe him to be truthful?
Yes.
Do you believe... Macy, you're under oath. Do you really believe that this man is Santa Claus?
Well, I...
Well, he gives every indication.
I asked you, Mr. May, believe that this man is Santa Claus.
Children.
I do.
You too.
Does he really believe it, though?
Out of this court. There is no such person as Santa Claus, and everybody knows it.
Your Honor, I submit it's purely...
I mean, from his point of view, you can get where he's coming from.
Request an immediate ruling from this court. Is there or is there not a Santa Claus?
Well... the court will take a short recess to consider the matter.
If you go back in there and rule that there's no Santa Claus, you better start looking for that chicken farm right now. Why,
I've taken an oath. How can I seriously rule that there is a Santa Claus?
That's fair.
Why
That's
don't
fair.
you look? New York State Supreme Court rules there's no Santa Claus. It's all over the papers. The kids read it and they don't hang up their stockings.
It's like, gotta go with the popular option, but like he doesn't really believe it.
The question of Santa Claus seems to be largely a matter of opinion. Many people firmly believe in him. The tradition of American justice demands a broad and unprejudiced view of such a controversial matter. Keep an open mind. We shall hear evidence on either side.
He's crazy, too. The burden of proof for this ridiculous contention clearly rests with my opponent. Can he produce any evidence to support his views?
Will Thomas Mara please take the stand?
Who, me?
Thomas Mara, Jr.
Son.
Do you believe in Santa Claus, Tommy?
Sure I do. He gave me a brand new flexible flyer sled last year. There he is, sitting there.
Your Honor, I protest.
Overruled.
Why are you so sure there's a Santa Claus?
Because my daddy told me so. Didn't you, Daddy?
Don't you
Puts him in an awkward position.
He's a very honest man.
Of course he is. My daddy wouldn't tell me anything that wasn't so. Goodbye, Daddy. Don't forget a real official football helmet.
Don't worry, Tommy. You'll get it.
How does he go on from that?
Your Honor, the state of New York concedes the existence of Santa Claus.
Hundreds of witnesses with opposite opinions. But it's our desire to shorten this hearing rather than prolong it. Mr. Gailey now submit authoritative proof that Mr. Kringle is the one and only Santa Claus.
Oh, I guess that's that.
He got a hit, but he came back with a great counter on Gailey, the other lawyer.
Jolly. He's not like anyone else. He must be Santa.
I think perhaps you're right, Susie.
I'm going to write him a letter right now and cheer him up.
Mr. Kringle, my mother says you were sad. Now I am writing you because I want you to be happy again. And I tell you that I believe all you told me. I believe you will get me the present I asked for. I hope you are not sad. Yours truly, Susan. What a lovely letter. The innocence and the purity of a child, which Santa has as well, and that's probably why children love Santa.
Gailey, have you anything further to offer?
Yes, I have, Your Honor. It concerns the Post Office Department, an official agency of the United States government. The Post Office Department is one of the largest business concerns in the world.
To know that the Post Office Department is doing so nicely, but it hardly has any bearing on this case.
Let him finish.
Figures I have just quoted indicate an efficiently run organization. Make it a criminal offense to willfully misdirect mail or intentionally deliver it to the wrong party. I want to introduce these pieces of evidence.
I'll take them, please.
I have here 3 letters. They're addressed simply Santa Claus. These letters have just now been delivered to Mr. Kringle by bona fide employees of the post office.
3 letters, Your Honor, are hardly positive proof.
Oh, you can get more.
Receives thousands of these letters every year.
I have further exhibits, Your Honor, but I hesitate to produce them.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be very happy to see them.
Yeah.
But, Your Honor...
Put them here on the desk. Put them...
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, you asked for all of them. It's Christmas Eve. Are you going to have time to read all those letters?
Every one of these letters is addressed to Santa Claus. The post office has delivered them. Therefore, the Post Office Department recognizes this man, Kris Kringle, to be the one and only Santa Claus.
Since the United States government declares this man to be Santa Claus, this court will not dispute it.
And you know, Susan would a massive assist in that.
I've got to get that football helmet.
That's the one thing I wonder, like, would parents ever wonder, like, where the hell do these presents come out of? Because obviously Santa delivers presents to the children as well.
We're having a big Christmas party at the Brooks home tomorrow morning. Breakfast, a beautiful tree, and I'd like to have you and Susan.
I can't think of anyone I'd rather spend Christmas with. Would you like to come to dinner tonight?
You can't. It's Christmas Eve.
Oh, I forgot.
Gonna be quite busy. Got him the gift he was looking for.
But there are lots of presents there for you, darling.
Not the one I wanted. Not the one Mr. Kringle was going to get for me.
What was that?
I knew it wouldn't be here, but I thought there'd be a letter or something telling me.
I don't suppose you even want to talk to me. I'm sorry, Susie. I tried my best, but...
You couldn't get it because you're not Santa Claus, that's why.
This is what the mother was worried about.
I was wrong when I told you that, Susie. Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to.
I believe. It's silly, but I believe.
Thanks, Chris. That'll be fine. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Stop!
Susie!
What you doing? Susie!
Susie!
This is why he told him to go with his fruit.
This is my house, Mommy. The one I asked Mr. Kringle for. It is. I know it is.
She's using the faith she's believing.
Oh, you were right, Mommy. Mommy told me if things don't turn out just the way you want them to the first time, you still got to believe. To see if there's a swing. There is one.
You told her that?
He's happy to hear that.
Maybe I didn't do such a wonderful thing after all.
Confirmation though. And there is the original A Miracle on 34th Street. I think the angle that I like best in this was that kind of battle slash contrast between reality and imagination, you know, believing, fate. And I think in the world there should be room for both, but one side was very much pushing only for reality, whereas Chris and Gailey were showing how there should be, I think, room for both, but showing very much the side of, you know, fairy tales and, you know, believing in something true, imagination, you know, that is important and that can help you as a person as well, I think, you know, whereas you can be too close-minded if it's all strictly about reality. Now I can see where the mother was coming from, that she didn't want her daughter to become hurt if she was to believe in Santa, but as I said, I think there's like a common middle ground you need between the two. And then it was beautiful moments, like with I think that child, the Dutch child with Santa, that was such a really nice moment. I liked the little stuff, him wanting to defend Alfred, it was really good, and how Gailey won the court case with those letters, I thought was a great moment as well. So it had a lot of heart, a lot of that Christmas feel, and some just really nice, great moments in it as well. So yeah, definitely enjoyed it. But guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts on A Miracle on 34th Street. Where would it rank among your favorite Christmas films? How do you think the remake compared to it? Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But until next time, guys, slán go fóill.